Hello and welcome to Aspen Talks Health. I am Dr. Nicola Siso, and today I am joined by Luke Krcil.
Yes.
He is the founder of Sun Healthy Home, and he's also a scientist and a functional medicine expert. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Good.
Good to be here, doctor.
Good, thanks. Today we're talking about toxins, how they get into our homes and therefore our bodies. And this show is underwritten by Tim Mooney. Thanks, Mooney. I so appreciate your support. He is a longtime local, an excellent realtor, and a dear, dear friend. So let's get started.
Yes.
How are toxins entering our homes?
Well, three principal ways. There are other ways, but three very principal ways is through our air and through our air distribution system, whether it be furnace or AC. Quite frequently, there's mold growing in the cooling coils in our air handlers. And secondly, through our water. By law and necessary, actually, to distribute water through our municipal distribution systems, there are chlorine and chloramines that are in the water. So those are toxins that come into our home, things we get exposed to when we drink the water or we don't drink the water, but certainly when we shower and bathe and wash. And lastly, it's a very common one that people don't think of are the cleaning products we use.
Right.
Many of them are quite toxic and increase the toxin burden in our homes.
Let's start with water, because that's an interesting one. I went on the EWG's website, and you can put in your zip code, and it will tell you what contaminants are known to be in that reservoir, that municipal's reservoir source.
Correct.
And what I found when I put in Aspen zip code is that there are 4 known cancer-causing agents in the water. Is that standard across America, or
well, many municipalities have these things, and one thing, if it's below certain levels, it's not considered something the city needs to report or is harmful.
Parts per million, is that what you mean in the water?
In some cases it's parts per million, sometimes it's parts per billion.
Okay, but this can still be toxic to the body.
That's correct.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's absolutely correct, yes.
Wow. What else? What other are there specific ones that we should be concerned with?
Well, we take sort of the main approach and provide a very high quality carbon filter that removes the chlorine and the chloramines, things that standard water that's award winning, meets standards, comes into our home, and take that water and remove those, take those out 100% out, and make standard water superior.
Nice.
Of course, there's also some heavy metal reducing media that we use, and of course the entire thing, the filter media removes potentially other toxins that we don't know are in our water because one, it's very expensive to test for them.
Right. Interesting.
So it's like, a very powerful practical solution, and this is something I believe all homeowners should consider in terms of keeping their water pure. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to have expensive salt systems, softeners. You don't even need to do RO systems. The city does have a certain standard, and then it's just about making that standard water superior when it comes into your home. And not only does it have health benefits, but it contributes tremendously to your quality of life by softer hair, better skin, no burning eyes in the shower.
Interesting. Are these contaminants added to the water, or are they naturally sourced? Or is this like a cleaning agents, or like the chlorine, I'm assuming, is
well,
a cleaning?
The chloramines.
Chloramines.
And most cities will have about 3 parts per million chloramines. That's created by combining chlorine and ammonia, which of course we shouldn't do in our home because it creates toxic gas, right? However, by doing that, they create a stable. See, chlorine fluctuates in water, and chloramines are very stable, so the cities are looking to create a stable disinfectant. And of course, there are issues with contamination in the distribution system, keeping the water clean, and once the water hits your home, here again, at the point of entry of the water to your home, prepare that water to be of superior quality in your home.
Right.
By removing those contaminants, the chloramines. Certainly the chloramines, which are part of federal regulations, EPA standards, but also removing smaller levels of other contaminants.
Yeah, makes sense. Is it also a piping issue? Like if you have old pipes?
Well, the distribution systems, people are very concerned all over the country. You will find concern about as our distribution system, meaning the piping
Yeah.
that delivers our water from the local water plant to our home, are aging. So as these age and there are breaks and et cetera, yes, there is a concern that, and I, of course, come a lot from Florida, so we have, there might be an element of that too, when the water sits in the distribution system for months at a time and people aren't there, then the quality of the water drops because maybe most of the people in the development are gone during that season when the people who remain are not even drawing water from the plant. They're drawing most of their water that may have been sitting in the main for weeks.
Interesting. And so you have an amazing product that filters out for the whole home, not just like an under the sink setup? Or
Yeah, well, we've taken a very practical approach. I'm a busy guy. I think a lot of people are busy. We live such full lives, modern lives. The last thing we want to worry about is changing that filter for the refrigerator, changing those filters under the sink, which, by the way, is another source of pollution because you can get leakage and mold.
Yeah.
So,
majority leak for sure.
Yeah, eventually there's going to be a leak.
Yeah.
So the less plumbing inside the house that could potentially leak, the less issues you would potentially have with mold and other things. And then there's the shower heads.
Yeah.
See, removing toxins is very much related to the amount of media in the tank and contact time. So that little filter on your shower will never do what a large 5 or 6 foot tank filter
Right.
with a lot of girth and a lot of media capacity can do.
That makes sense. You mentioned mold in the air conditioning ducts. So if you put a brand new system, is there an average on how long it takes before some mold, you can expect to see mold in there? Or?
Well, I'm going to give you
idea?
my Florida perspective. Of course, in the South, we have
Florida's
more
hot.
humidity
Right.
and we have more mold issues. The Florida Department of Health says that almost 100% of air distribution systems in Florida have mold. And that would be confirmed by my experience dealing with heating and air conditioning people. And any kind and any amount
Yeah.
should be considered harmful and removed.
Wow.
So it's not uncommon for the cooling coils and air handlers. And I'm staying at a home here in Carbondale in the local area right now. And there isn't a mold issue, but there's an incredible dust issue. So another category of toxins are ultrafine particles. And these particles, we breathe them in. They go into our lungs. From there, they go into our bloodstream, and they're part of what contributes to inflammation and arterial plaquing over time. This is well established.
Wow.
Scientifically. One in St. Louis University, 1 in 7 diabetes cases is related to air pollution.
Wow.
Everything, a third of cardiovascular disease. So much of this is related to the air we breathe. And the indoor air, according to the EPA, is 200 to 500 times worse than the air we breathe outside. Now, here we live here in the Rocky Mountains, I understand. It's beautiful, the air is clean. But that doesn't mean, like the home in Carbondale, we tested the particulate matter, and there is a dust problem.
Right.
And of course, people also like to keep their homes clean. So you'll find that if you do a good job of cleaning your air, including the particulate matter, it's also easier to keep your house clean.
Yeah.
It's just a side benefit.
That makes sense.
Yes.
And then your cleaning products. Now, I've studied a lot about this during my master's in environmental
Yes.
management at
Yes.
Harvard, and
Yes.
one statistic blew my mind. The average woman lathers herself with 170 chemicals a day, from her lotions to makeup to hair products.
Heavy metals, lead. I mean, it's a real concern.
Yep.
So the cleaning products are some of the harshest, and as you say, even things as our personal care products.
Yes.
And lipstick and things like this are a source of toxins.
Right, and deodorants have aluminum now in them that
Yes.
gets absorbed. Anything you
Yes.
put on your skin will get
And
absorbed.
there is so many great alternatives. I mean, there are baking soda, essential oil
Right.
preparations that are incredible deodorants. far more effective
Right.
than the antiperspirants and the aluminum chlorhydrate, which I hear you referring to. So it's exciting. We have a lot of innovation in this country. So with a little awareness,
Yeah.
just at our grocery store, we can begin to eliminate these toxic products.
Right. And going back to more natural sources of cleaning. What are some of the cleaning agents that we should be concerned with?
Oh, well, there's things we should be concerned with, like ammonia, but just think a mixture of just vinegar, white vinegar, and water is a great glass cleaner.
Right. And floor cleaner.
And floor cleaner.
Right.
So go to the internet, plenty, even things you can develop yourself for cleaning. And if you don't want to do that, you can buy these better options at the grocery store.
Yeah. I use 7th generation. I shouldn't be recommending products, but that's my favorite.
Yes, I've used 7th generation products from time to time, and they certainly were a leader.
They work well.
And there are many other options as well.
Right. Yeah. And so you're cleaning what you're cleaning your clothes with, cleaning the counters with. Any other sources that you can think of environmentally?
Oh, and environmentally, of course, say do not have carpet.
Interesting.
Like woven carpet in your home, maybe some throw rugs or whatever in certain places, but there's really no, I know we go through fads and some people still have them in their bedrooms, but our carpets are a tremendous reservoir of outgassing, certainly for the first couple of years after it's installed. Because you
years.
Yeah, first, absolutely. Again, we're getting better and better options, but even our sofas,
yes,
paints, now there are low and no VOC paints. So there are better options we can do, and immediately.
Yeah.
If it's not in your budget to remake your entire home, take a look at your water, take a look at your air with an air cleaner. And we particularly like one that was developed medical grade technology, which is better than the options that you're going to find at your local Home Depot or Lowe's or one of these consumer, or Target or one of these consumer products. And number 3, of course, we like we mentioned, were the cleaning products.
Right.
So hit these major 3 areas, and you're well on the way to having a healthy home from a physical standpoint.
Right. I read once a report that showed that couches, the flame retardants that they use on couches, every time you sit down on the couch, this plume of flame retardants comes out, and it's been linked to birth defects and neurological defects. Fascinating.
Oh, and there are literally, I don't know if I remember the exact number, but something like 200,000, and it's probably increasing, chemicals we're exposed to on a regular basis that were never in the human genome, that we do not have an idea, any sense for what the long-term effect is, and we have no data at all about the interactions of all these, as well as the total toxin load. And we know cancer is on the increase.
I was just about to say that.
It's totally on the increase.
Right.
And, both for our environmental exposures, definitely you cannot refute the data or the evidence, and certainly our diet as well.
Yeah.
So, this is a little bit like Darwin's survival of the fittest, right? It's like we want to live a long, healthy, high-quality life. We really need to pay attention to our home environment, what we eat, our diet, all of these things. And I was just talking to an engineer on the airplane the other day, and I said, we were talking about an air cleaner for the home that sterilized the air. And I said, what would it mean to you that if when one person in your family becomes ill, that not everybody does? I said, do you know that the quickest way to ensure that everyone's exposed is just your home air distribution system? And I said, how about if that air was sterilized, and that when someone became ill, all your children didn't become sick, you didn't become sick? He said, oh my gosh. He said, my wife wouldn't have to stay home to take care of the children when they're ill. And it would our lives would be so much better and more productive by paying attention to the quality of our air. And that's just one item.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yes.
Yeah, we are bombarding our bodies with so many toxins that
Mm-hmm.
chemicals that we've never been exposed to before, and the body is used to eliminating toxins. That's why we go to the restroom.
Our livers are incredible.
Right. But
Incredible detoxifying organ.
exactly, but if you overload the system,
Exactly.
that's when it breaks down, and
Yes.
that's when things like cancer can grow because the body's not, it doesn't have the resources to fight off all these
So imagine
elements.
this, 8 hours a day, or however much sleep you need, clean air, you start out with a nice fresh shower. What advantage do you give yourself
Wow.
by giving yourself those 8 hours of better sleep, breathe more easily, not waking up feeling congested? Oh, by the way, there's, dust mites. We could go on and on about the things that are a toxic load causing allergies, et cetera, et cetera. And there are empowered choices, and they're not that expensive. But we do like to make sure they're effective and operating and low or no maintenance.
Good.
We don't need more things to do.
Yeah.
But we do want to be healthier and have a better quality of life.
Yeah, and it's a lot more expensive to go to the doctor later.
Yeah.
Tell us, on that note, tell us about your story. What led you to this?
Well, I've been in, I had a health crisis, and if you take 50-some pounds off my body right now, that's where I started at about 131 pounds. That's how I got into functional medicine. I was with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers before that, a water purification specialist. But I would say most of my business pursuits have risen out of challenges I've had in my life, either with living around the world and experiencing incredible water in parts of Europe, and then really bad water in Los Angeles when I lived there, and in Florida. So I began looking for, I didn't want my eyes to burn in the shower, and then I moved into 2 houses that had mold problems, and these mold problems are frequently hidden. And I looked, they had not put the filter in the air handler. At one point I took my phone and took a photo up, and the coils were not only full of dust and lint, but they had mold growing in there. And I had a lot of health problems. In the last place I was having splitting headaches. Quite frequently we're going to the doctor for symptoms. And that sometimes those symptoms, skin problems, could be, for some people, is tied to the chloramines in their water, respiratory problems, allergies, and a lot of this stuff is not only exacerbated, but even caused within our homes. So for me, to get specifically to your question, is I learned about things, and then it's like the natural outcome of fixing things yourself. I feel like it's an obligation to share with other people.
Right. Yep.
Thus, I met you, and here we are.
I love it. Yeah, that's definitely my mission as well. It's what you
Mm.
have to work on internally becomes your, I heard a perfect quote once, your mess is your message.
Your mess is your message. I like that.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
It hit me hard. So tell us, you're also involved in the Wellness for Humanity. Can you tell us about that organization?
Well, Wellness for Humanity is a local foundation that supports people's health from a lot of angles, and they're very interested. We're a supporter of that foundation, a contributor, and they're interested in cutting edge technologies that help people become healthy. I mean, even from an energetic standpoint, but also from supplementation, also from air and water. So they're taking a very holistic approach to helping and empowering. I love that word, empowering people to take responsibility and take charge to live more fuller, more productive, happier, higher quality lives.
That's beautiful.
Great organization,
Yeah.
Wellness for Humanity. Arthur Franklin, who
Yes.
lives in Carbondale, is actually the executive director of that foundation.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Yes.
And so your products, can you tell us a little bit more about what you have to offer
In terms
of...
Okay, so for water, we have a product called Super One,
Okay.
which is a water tank filter. The Super One's a big 6-foot tank. We also have a smaller tank for smaller households. And on the air side, we have a whole house. We call the Sun Healthy Home is our brand. We have the medical grade air technology that's installed right into the air distribution system of your home.
Okay.
And we also have a portable option. Some people who are renters, for example, don't want to make the investment directly into their air distribution system. So they like using the portable medical grade Class 2 medical device. For many people, it's actually reimbursable through their medical or their health insurance with a doctor's prescription.
Nice.
So that's where our focus is right now, heavily on the air and the water. We're just recommending that people go out and find a good option for their cleaning products.
Good, excellent. Are there any that you recommend specifically?
Well, I think 7th Generation is a good brand, but like I say, you go to your health food store and even some major companies are now coming out with fragrance-free, allergen-free
Right.
options for your laundry detergents, etc.
Why is fragrance-free important?
Well, a lot of people are either allergic or sensitive, or it's another something that the liver has to deal with.
Oh, that makes sense. Do you know
Now,
why?
and of course, there are some more natural fragrances, but even essential oils for some people who are already on a toxic overload can take them over the edge. Even natural essential oils for some people are not are a bit much.
Interesting.
So they go for fragrance-free. And then, of course, a lot of products have artificial fragrances and,
Right.
things that the body our genetic code, so to speak, have never been exposed to,
Yeah.
as we talked with most of these toxins, man-made chemicals.
Right. Do you know why it's causing allergies?
Well, we have a real problem with inflammation.
Okay.
And as you know, inflammation is the underlying cause of all chronic degenerative conditions, be it Alzheimer's, cancer, heart disease, arthritis, dementia, allergies, autoimmune conditions, all of these things. So our modern diet is overflowing with omega-6 plant oils from corn, soybean, sunflower, safflower, etc. Grapeseed oil, which has a high smoke point used in cooking, but it's too many. These are all omega-6 oils that are inflammatory. So modern diet feeds an inflammatory environment in the body. So that's one of the reasons why people are so sensitive, because their immune systems are overactivated. So this is one of the projects that the foundation is working on. And of course, once the second aspect of that, other than having an inflammatory environment, is we're getting a toxic overload. So when the liver is backed up, when we have so many toxins to deal with, at some point the immune system is not able to deal with all these toxins, and then becomes overactive. Autoimmune conditions, our immune system starts attacking us. And of course, allergies are just a response of the body simply responding to some type of allergen. Some of these things are natural, some are genetic, but I would say so often, a corrected diet and lowering the toxic overload in the environment, respiratory, etc., and these allergies seem to go away on their own. The body resets itself.
Right.
So before I would want to be taking allergy shots and things like that, I'd say, wow, what can I do to correct my diet, improve my home environment, make my home healthy? It's like, I think one of our modern problems is I once was talking to a regional vice president for Monsanto, and we were debating, and I said, so let me check. You're telling me that technology will solve every problem that technology creates? He said, yes. I said, well, let's not talk any further, because I'm a big fan of technology, but let's your graduate studies, mine in ecology, let's reset the natural environment, our genetic code. Wouldn't that be more smarter than just looking for another drug to solve the problem that the last drug or the last chemical created?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's so true.
So healthy home.
Yeah. How do you fix the balance with the omega-6 and 3s?
Well,
By
that's
removing the problem, obviously. Consuming too many oils.
Yes. Two problems. One, we consume too many omega-6s. So the corn, soybean agriculture has corrupted our food system, and high fructose corn syrup and corn oil and soy oil and all these things are used in all these processed foods. So eliminating processed foods would go a long way. And then, of course, our modern food supply is deficient in omega-3 because free-range, grass-fed, wild deep-sea fatty fish, these are all things that we don't have in our diet in the level we need. So the foundation is supporting people in supplementation, either with wild fish oil blended with a high polyphenol olive oil. We won't go into the details of that, but it's a very special formula. And the other option is a vegan formula that's actually getting the bioessential omega-3s, the EPA, DHA. Some of your listeners might understand what these are, but from algae.
Yeah.
So when the fish got it, what did they do? They ate the algae. Well, we go lower in the food chain,
Right.
to the algae.
To the real source.
And so even though it's at this point it's a bit more expensive, but we're learning to grow these things, grow these algae in an environment, and concentrate them for the human diet.
Right. Algae bloom, I thought. They're kind of almost like a spore. Don't they just kind of
Well, of course,
replicate
yeah.
quite
There are
rapidly?
many kind of algae, and they're very prolific.
Right.
And of course, there are good algae, bad algae. In Florida, we got the big thing with red tide right now. Very serious issue.
Right.
Very serious issue for air quality, and people having respiratory conditions.
Yeah.
But so learning about nature, mimicking nature, using nature. Both of our studies at a graduate level certainly bring that right into human health.
Good. Love it. Yeah, I definitely support the blue-green algae concept for omega-3s. So do you have a contact locally for your products with Sun Healthy Home?
We do. There's Allison Hart.
Okay,
She is in Carbondale,
great.
and so she's a local advisor. We're finding, here's what we're finding. We started in Palm Beach County, Florida. Then pretty soon we were in the Naples area. There's an awareness of the public of this need and the desire to have a healthy home that's just kind of taking off. So we're working on growing the company, scaling the company so we can meet the demand. We're mostly having fun, and it's fun to help people and see them happy.
Right.
But Allison stepped up right away. Allison Hart in Carbondale.
Wonderful. Okay, great. Well, I really appreciate having you on the show. This has been really informative, and I'm sure it will help so many people to get their air and their water and their cleaning products cleared out, at least eliminate those sources of toxins. Why not? If those are in control, right? We walk outside, that's not in our control. But
I
in our
can't control
home,
the local power plant or
Right.
the cars on the freeway.
but in your home, you can
Yes.
control what you do and what you buy.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you very much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Nicola.
And thanks again, Tim Mooney. I appreciate your support. That's it for today.